Welcome to Oktoberfest, an explosion of joy, beer, and tradition. The smell of freshly baked pretzels mixes with the intoxicating aroma of hops. Laughter and singing fill the air, while thousands of people toast with overflowing beer mugs. Every year, millions of visitors immerse themselves in an atmosphere of collective euphoria. Get ready to toast with history, because Oktoberfest is a symbol of German culture. A royal wedding, the beginning of a people's festival, like the Venice Carnival, but with fewer masks and more beer mugs. To understand the soul of Oktoberfest, we must go back to October 12, 1810. Munich dressed up to celebrate the wedding of Crown Prince Ludwig and Princess Therese. The royal wedding was a grand event, celebrated with 5 days of public festivities. This event was such a huge success that it was decided to repeat it the following year. Beer at the heart of the party. The birth of Oktoberfest as we know it. In its early years, Oktoberfest was a folk festival with a family atmosphere. In 1880, the sale of beer within the festival area was finally authorized. This is how they began to erect large tents, capable of accommodating thousands of people. Beer soon became the central element of Oktoberfest, brewed according to the ancient purity law of 1516. Shadows in the past, controversial shows and the moral question, like Michelangelo's Last Judgment, which has been debated for centuries. Despite the festive atmosphere, Oktoberfest has not been without its shadows and controversies, a bit like the history of Italy. Between the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Oktoberfest, like many other popular fairs of the time, hosted so-called freak shows, shows in which people with physical deformities or disabilities were exhibited, an aspect that makes us shudder today. These shows, which today we would consider cruel and degrading, were unfortunately very popular at the time and reflected a society less sensitive to diversity, a bit like the treatment of those who were different during the Inquisition. Another dark page in the history of Oktoberfest concerns the presence of so-called human zoos, exhibitions of people from Africa, Asia, and Oceania, presented as wild and primitive, a sad example of how prejudice can obscure reason. Oktoberfest under Nazism, a tool of propaganda, like Mussolini's speech from the balcony of Piazza Venezia. With the rise to power of the Nazi Party in 1933, Oktoberfest underwent a radical transformation, just like Italy after the arrival of Mussolini. The Nazis, aware of the enormous popularity of the festival, transformed it into a propaganda tool to spread nationalist and racist ideology, a bit like turning the Sanremo festival into a hymn to the regime. During the Nazi regime, Oktoberfest lost its international and festive connotation, becoming a grim and propagandistic event, functional to the construction of a national identity based on exclusion and discrimination, a dark period that marked the history of Europe. Rebirth after the storm. Oktoberfest in the post-war period, like the reconstruction of Italy after World War II. After the end of World War II, Oktoberfest faced a long and complex process of reconstruction, just like a building after a bombing. However, in 1949, just 4 years after the end of the war, Oktoberfest returned, albeit in a reduced form, a bit like a plant rising from its ashes. The revival of the festival represented a sign of hope and a return to normalcy, a way to forget the horrors of war and rediscover a sense of community, just like Italy's victory in the 1982 World Cup. In the following years, Oktoberfest gradually regained its former popularity, becoming a symbol of Germany's economic and social revival, a bit like the Italian economic boom of the 1960s. The tragedy of 1980, an attack that shook the world like the Bologna massacre of August 2nd, 1980. On September 26, 1980, the festive atmosphere of Oktoberfest was shattered by a tragic attack, a bolt from the blue. A bomb placed near the main entrance of the Theresienwiese exploded, killing 13 people and injuring over 200, a wound that marked the history of Germany. The attack, the most serious in the history of post-war Germany, deeply shook public opinion and cast a dark shadow over the festival, a bit like the Piazza Fontana massacre in Milan. To this day, the causes and perpetrators of the attack have not been fully clarified, although the most accredited hypothesis is that of a neo-Nazi matrix, a ghost of the past that returns to haunt the present. A new millennium, a new Oktoberfest, between security and tradition, like the Colosseum in Rome, ancient but always relevant. After the 1980 attack, security became a top priority for Oktoberfest organizers, a bit like airport security after 9/11s. Security measures have been progressively strengthened with entrance checks, surveillance cameras, and a massive deployment of law enforcement, a price to pay for peace of mind. Despite the new security measures, Oktoberfest has not lost its festive and popular character, just as Rome has never bowed to adversity. The festival, while maintaining its traditional elements, such as Bavarian costumes, beer and folk music, has been enriched with new attractions and initiatives, able to satisfy the tastes of an increasingly wide audience, just like Italian cuisine that evolves without losing its identity. A toast to the future. The Oktoberfest of today and tomorrow, like a toast with a good glass of Italian wine, a symbol of conviviality. Oktoberfest, with its long and complex history, is much more than just a festival. It is an institution, a bit like the Palio di Siena, which has been renewed every year for centuries. Despite the challenges of the past and the uncertainties of the future, Oktoberfest continues to fascinate and involve millions of people, confirming itself as one of the most beloved folk festivals in the world, a bit like the timeless charm of Rome. So, let's toast to the future of Oktoberfest, hoping that this festival can continue to represent an occasion for meeting, joy and peace for generations to come, just like a good plate of pasta that brings people together. If you like this video, leave a comment, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss the next updates.